Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about the real reason for your unhealthy eating habits. And I love this conversation because most likely what you've done to try and change your weight and your eating is to just stop yourself. Just stop those unhealthy eating habits. And most likely what's happened is you're able to do that for a little while and then they come back. Well, why is this? And I want to deep dive into this concept because I think once you understand this, this is a profound shift in how you approach your eating and ultimately your weight in a very, very dramatic way. So typically, you look at your unhealthy eating habits as bad and they need to be stopped. But what if I told you that these unhealthy eating habits actually serve a positive purpose for you? That they're not just bad things you do to punish yourself, but that on a deeper subconscious level, most of you, if not all of your unhealthy eating habits are serving a positive purpose. They're getting you something in the moment. So, for example, I had a client yesterday and we were talking about her worst eating habit, which was grazing during the day. She works from home, grazes during the day, multiple times, go to the kitchen, grab something to eat, go back to work. And so originally the idea is I need to stop grazing, right? I need to stop doing that habit. And that's how most of us approach it. But what if that habit is actually doing something really helpful and positive for you? Right now, I know you can't see that because all you're focused on is the weight issue. But what if the reason that she was grazing throughout the day was because that was the only break that she allowed herself to have from work? Other than if she had to go to the bathroom, the only time that she would allow herself to get up from work and stretch out, change scenery, take a break for a minute was when when she had a snack, when she grazed. Now all of a sudden you start to think of things differently and you start to realize that if that was true, if the grazing, not only again, you like eating the food, I'm not saying that's not a part of it, but that as much of a part of it was the fact that you gave yourself a break from working, change of scenery, change your mood a little bit. And if that was the case, all of a sudden we come in and we say, okay, I got to stop grazing. Well, that's what it means consciously with your weight, but subconsciously it's interpreted as, oh shit, now I don't get any more breaks. Now I just work a complete full day. I'm going to go crazy. And so when you start to appreciate what you're doing subconsciously to yourself, I think it sets you up to find a real solution. Because as soon as we start to get more understanding of why this habit exists and that taking breaks is a part of it, now we can ask the magical question, which is, how can I take more effective breaks that have nothing to do with food? And this is a question she'd never asked herself. She'd never allowed herself to come up with an answer to this because she never realized that a big part of the grazing and the snacking was to take a break. So again, when you have unhealthy eating habits, there's almost always a reason deeper of why you're doing it. And once you recognize what that reason is, then you can start to ask the magical question of how can I get a better result? How can I accomplish that even more effectively? How can I take a break in a way that will help me also allow me to live my goal weight? And once you ask that question, it sends your brain in a completely different direction and sets you up to get much better results because now it's not interpreted as now I can't take breaks anymore. I got to suffer through this. Now there's a better option. This is a better break to take. It's better for me to go and take a walk around the block. It's better for me to go, play with my dog or whatever strategy may work for you instead of thinking you're just going to take it away. So I hope you get this because this is such a fundamental piece of finding real, genuine solutions to your weight. It's not enough to just stop yourself and take away the bad habits because you've got to do something. And those bad habits are they're always there for a positive reason. So as you start to recognize the positive reasons, as you start to give yourself better choices, as opposed to removing choices, you're going to find that you feel a lot better because you're staying connected to your autonomy and your choice. And this is a much better way forward. So I hope this makes sense to you. If it doesn't, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it sounds a little bit intriguing, make sure you go to my bio, click the link, get the free hypnosis session, watch the video I made, and read the emails I send because they'll help kind of teach you a different way to approach your weight that I think you'll find makes a lot more sense and ultimately is a lot more effective. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them and we'll get into it. What day is it? Wednesday? So tomorrow's Halloween. All right. So how's everyone's Halloween going? I will get, oh my goodness, I've been so busy, but I promise you, will I get it today? Yes. Today, I promise you, if you're on my email list, I will send you an email this afternoon to the sugar session that will help you during Thanksgiving. So make sure you get on there, but I hope everyone's Not getting too into the candy. I'm certainly eating candy. I got it somewhat moderated, but I do allow myself to eat some candy. Um, yeah. Hoon says, remember me. I don't binge anymore like I used to. Thank you. Well, you're welcome, Hoon. Congratulations. Take a little screenshot of that. Always like the success stories. Great job. That's great. Always feels good when we make a dramatic shift in our behaviors. What's up, Katie? How's it going? Okay, yeah, Jen, that's a smart strategy, right? I just got my Halloween candy on Monday, so I get you. Jennifer said I'm going to finally buy my Halloween candy this evening. Yeah, smart move, right? Um, it's funny, right? And it's hard. It gets hard because these companies know how to trigger us. But, geez, when do they start selling Halloween candy in August now? It seems right. So, I love people that love to be prepared. Right. I love the people that are like, love being prepared for Halloween 2 months ahead of time by having lots of candy in the house. Probably not a good strategy. So yeah, waiting till the last minute to get the candy is absolutely a certified good strategy. So nice job. And then get rid of it quickly too. That's a good one too. Now I will tell you, I'm a little bit further down the path of this. I've been working on this for a while, but I do usually allow myself a week or two to eat this stuff. And, it's almost like an experiment to me. I like to notice how it affects my cravings, my moods, my energy levels, my taste buds, all of that stuff. And I have strategies to get myself back on track pretty well. But I usually give myself a week or two, to eat this stuff. Although it's a little different now. I mean, I used to have, younger kids when they come back with all different kinds of candy, and that kind of, fed into it. And now it's basically, I still got my son. We'll see how much candy he gets and how much he'll actually let me have. But now a lot of the candy is mostly the candy that I buy. It's in the house. It's all the same. So that's actually easier. Again, variety is a huge trigger of overconsumption, by the way. They call it the buffet effect. You ever notice that? You can go to a buffet and eat a lot of food, but you can keep on eating. Well, why? Because it's different types of food. And so different varieties of flavors actually trigger our hunger. A little tidbit of knowledge for you there. What's up, Vicky? How's it going? Oops. Let's see here. Let's make sure I didn't miss anyone. Yeah, great job, Hoon. I can't believe it. Not binging anymore. That's always a big win. I know people that struggle with binge eating. It's it's kind of a killer, one of the tough ones. There's Claudia. Jim, usually when I do the redo technique, I don't go through the process, but jump directly into conclusion how I think I should have done. I don't like that I do that. Yeah, you don't want to do that, Claudia, because that's not going to do anything. We don't want to just like, oh, I ate a bag of cookies and I'll imagine myself, I didn't eat a bag of cookies. That's not going to do it, because really what the purpose of the redo technique is we're going deeper into, listen, we're always generating our behavior, right? We're generating it, and we're generating with our thoughts. So when we do the redo technique in the program, we're using that as an opportunity to start to become more aware of how we're thinking about things right before the behavior we don't like. We're not just magically waving a wand and saying, oh, I won't do that anymore. Well, yeah, of course you're going to keep doing that if you don't change the thoughts that led to it. You should think of the thoughts. You could think of metaphorically, you could think of like your behaviors, your eating behaviors. It's kind of like if you drive to the supermarket, right? Getting to the destination is the behavior. Okay. And the directions you follow to get there are your thoughts, right? So when it comes to eating, there's the eating behavior you have, but how did you get there? Well, you followed very specific directions. Or if we want to put it a different way, it's kind of like your thoughts are like the recipe that leads you to the meal. Okay. And so when you behave a certain way, I ate the cookies, I ate candy bars, I did whatever that you didn't want to do. I don't want to just focus on the surface level and say, well, you shouldn't have done that. I look at the diet mindset. There's no depth of it. There's no understanding. Okay. What I want to do is I want to go deeper and say, how did I get myself to binge on that food? How did I get myself to eat the candy bar instead of the apple? And I know that sounds like a weird question to a lot of you, but a lot of you never really consider that. You never consider what your mind is doing to generate the behaviors that you consistently do. They don't just happen by magic. So when we do the redo rehearsal technique, and Claudia, we don't want to just jump to the conclusion. We really want to pay attention to how was I thinking about things to generate that initial behavior. Then we rewind it. And then we go through it saying, if I was the best version of me, if I was the person I wanted to be, and I was thinking differently, what would I have thought? And then what would the behavior that flowed out of that be? And then you're stepping into that and kind of imagining yourself doing it, because that helps program you, if that makes sense. So good job working with Claudia, though. But listen, I'm so proud of you, Claudia, because you're using it. You're testing the technique, you're practicing it. Because again, just like anything else, the first time you do the redo rehearsal technique, it's okay, but you're not good at it. You know what I mean? As you practice it, you get better at it. And so I want you to always keep that in mind. All right. A lot of people don't realize that, especially a lot of adults and a lot of dieters. You just think like, you know, dieters. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it today. I'm not just going to beat up at dieters all time here. Thanks, Rebecca. But the dieting mindset is okay. I said I wasn't gonna, but I got to do it for a second. But the dieting mindset, if you all are dieters, if you're new here and you're trying to lose weight by dieting, good luck. Good luck. It's you're missing a lot of stuff. I'll just leave it at that. So funny. It is funny with the dieting because it's like all people know about losing weight is a diet. So it is weird to say like the main way people think about something is completely wrong. It's hard. It's to some degree it's like, I'm not gonna put myself this level, but it's like Galileo. Galileo comes out, everyone thought that everything revolved around the earth. Galileo goes, it's not, everything revolved around the sun, right? So it's a huge paradigm shift, and it's so big, it's almost like it's hard for your brain to kind of comprehend it. And that's what it's like with the weight loss, because you've been so conditioned to think like a dieter, as how you lose weight, that it's hard for you to think in any other way. But I just challenge you to say, listen, I know you think like a dieter, and I know that's the only way now to think. So I get that. But my question to you is when you reflect on it, why do you think it's not working? I don't know why you all think it's like, because you think you don't have the self-control or willpower, but you always take the blame for dieting. And it's weird because you're a smart, intelligent person who's successful in lots of areas of your life. Why do you think you struggle so much with your weight? You don't have an answer, but it's something along the lines of there's something wrong with me. I have no willpower. I'm a food addict. I can't control myself, whatever. But you never really consider the possibility that it's your strategy, that dieting doesn't work. And so that you should stop beating yourself up and trying to diet for the 50th time and instead find a new approach. And that to me would be the more rational response. But people can do what they want. Jen says, can you talk more about how your pleasure days are structured? Meaning, do you just choose one meal to pleasure in, or thank you? No, my pleasure days, they're definitely structured. I just want to be clear. I mean, they're structured just like the clean days in the sense that, like on a clean day, I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. On pleasure days, I usually eat breakfast and a late breakfast. I eat later. I stay up later Friday night. I stay up later Saturday night. So I usually wake up later. And so on a clean day, I'm usually eating breakfast around 7, 8 o'clock. On a pleasure day, I'm usually eating breakfast around 9, 10 o'clock. Right. And it's a different breakfast, so I don't really eat much flour or sugar or processed food during my clean days. And then the weekend comes and, I'll eat some flour, I'll eat bread, I'll eat some sugar. I don't eat a lot of processed food even still, but I will eat more of it, than I would on my clean days. So the pleasure days are structured, but they're structured differently. So I have a breakfast and I have dinner typically. And I've even optimized those meals. So yeah, my breakfast is, I usually eat a bagel. I'll eat like a bagel sandwich is something I'll typically eat on a pleasure day. Whereas a clean day, I'm usually eating like Ezekiel bread, natural peanut butter, apple, peanut butter, water. On the pleasure day, I'm eating more like a bagel sandwich, 2 eggs, little bit of cheese, salsa, avocado. I might eat that. And then I might have a donut, might have a muffin or just something like that afterwards as well. And then I typically won't eat till dinner. And then dinner, I'll have a bigger meal and I'll drink wine and stuff like that. So yes, pleasure days are still structured. I don't just choose one meal. I know some people like to do that. So again, you always have that opportunity where you turn a pleasure day into a pleasure meal if you choose to. But for me, it's a pleasure day, and I, it's both meals are different, but I structure it different. So I hope that helps out. It's a different thing. But yeah, the pleasure, for those of you who are on the program, I would probably just skip that whole pleasure clean day thing. I'm starting to realize because there's just a lot more subtleties. Oh, shit. Forgot to start recording something. What happened there? That's okay. So yeah, so with the pleasure days, it's definitely there's a lot of subtle things that are going on there. I guess I'll leave it there. Santina says, I'm turning Halloween into a pleasure day, replacing candy with a glass of wine. That's great. I love that, Santina. Again, that's real life, and again, dieters think in very black or white terms. And it's fine when you're living it it's all or nothing. And it's fine when you're doing all. The problem is when you're doing nothing. I just had a conversation with one of my clients today, and he was kind of famous for, he would do a lot of contests. He would do real extreme kind of diets, lose a bunch of weight all at once. But I said to him, because his last week he got off track, but he's right back on track. And I said, when's the last time you got back on track? When's the last time you were on a diet, got off track, and then got back on track in a week? And he's like, never. Yeah, that's the point. I said, how long does it usually take you? 6, 8 months. Okay, we just took 6, 8 months and compressed it down to a week. Don't you think that's going to affect your weight? I always say this, that the number one skill of weight mastery is the ability to get back on track quickly. And so, it's not about being perfect. So I love that, Santina. I think that's a great strategy that, you get to, and again, it's personal for each person, right? So some person might be really looking forward to eating candy, right? Another person might say, I'd rather have some wine, and Halloween can be a fun day. It's different for different people, but if Halloween's something to look forward to and you like, the worst thing in the world I can think is being a dieter and you love Halloween and you love eating some candy and you drink some wine on that day or whatever. And now all of a sudden say, well, I'm going to diet, so I can't do any of the fun things I like. So now Halloween's going to suck. Well, now given that choice, you're probably going to eat the bullshit because you're giving yourself this false choice of I can either eat perfectly at Halloween and it sucks, or I can just not think about my diet at all, get totally off track and just do what I want. And there's no middle ground with you dieters. There's never any middle ground. And it's that lack of a middle ground that I think is the core reason you can't stick with a diet, because you don't want to. Excuse me. So I think giving yourself that middle ground thing and being able to be more flexible and realistic with your life is really important. And fucking dieters, it's just like in another world with this. And sometimes I'll argue, oh, Jim, if I want to do it, I got to do it perfect. Well, why? Why do you think that? It's never even worked for you. You say that to me as if people tell me this stuff about their diets as if it really works, So Claudia says, this 2 months I've prepared the breakfast in the evening. The days that I didn't make it, I didn't get up from the bed. There you go. Right, Claudia? Exactly. So Claudia, that's literally, that's the eating blueprint. That's literally the purpose of it, right? That we pre-program ourselves, right? So for Claudia's example here, that if you don't prepare breakfast ahead of time, your brain says, let's just sleep in. It's weird like that, but we pre-program ourselves. We live our lives on autopilot. We're pre-programmed, and then moment to moment, we basically are living on autopilot. We're not like these conscious beings constantly making rational, logical choices all day long. It's estimated we make over 200 food decisions a day. You don't have the mental energy or power to constantly just make all like perfect decisions all day long. That's why dieting doesn't work. It's overwhelming to you. Does it not feel overwhelming when you diet? I mean, what the shit? Again, I don't know how dieters just like completely misinterpret everything. You're always blaming yourself for willpower. But again, if I put it in a different context, I like doing this, but shit, you could do it. I always talk about the piano, but let's just say I want to learn to play golf, right? And so I'm going to play golf. And so, okay, which method are you going to use? Oh, I'm going to use the golf watchers method. Well, what's that method? I practice 10 hours a day. Oh, okay. Let me know how it goes. And say, I see the next month. And I say, hey, how'd that golf watchers thing go? How'd that go? It was good for a couple of days. And then I don't know what happened. I just kind of got off of it. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. Well, I know fucking why. 10 hours a day? You're going to try and golf 10 hours a day? What? That's the problem. That's why it didn't work. You're trying to golf 10 hours a day. You've never golfed before. Now you're going to golf 10 hours a day. That's the problem. That's why you didn't stick with it. That's it. Right? In that situation, like it would be obvious. You'd say that's what it is. But every dieter, it's like we're blind to that. Oh, I tried keto and it'll work for a little while. And then I try, wait, work. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with you. What's wrong is the plan. It's fucking ridiculous. The idea that you're going to all of a sudden one day be perfect and just change is so silly. Who would argue that? I haven't had anyone argue with me in a while. I guess I'm itching for a fight. I'm itching for someone to argue me, some dieter to be like, no, dieting works. Dieting works. Yeah, for a little while. What's up, Miss Independent? Hey, Jim, a long time. How are you? So glad to have found you live again. Really missed it. Well, super. I'm glad you're here. Well, make sure you follow me, Miss Independent. You follow me? Because sometimes I don't even know what it does when you're live. It'll pop my stuff up in your feed. If you follow me and all of a sudden I'm live, sometimes it'll pop me up into your little For You page, or, it'll send you little notifications and things that are going on. But yeah, glad you're back here, right? I always like to see, and then make sure I'm on my email list. Right? I got so much cool stuff coming. It's exciting. So make sure you're on there though. All right. Claudia says 7 kilograms down and I started feeling not good of how I look again, but this time I remember my patterns. Claudia, I'm so proud of you. That's what I love. I love this. My favorite thing in the world. This is why I'm obsessed with this stuff as a coach. I'm obsessed with it personally for myself, obviously, but as a coach, I am just absolutely addicted with helping people change the way that they approach their weight. And I love it because literally the only people that ever really resonate with my stuff and that end up getting the program are smart, intelligent, overthinking people. And it's a pleasure to work with you all. But again, it's like once you start to see things in a different way, it instantly changes stuff. And with the diet, you're always approaching things the exact same way and just hoping this time it'll be different. And with Program Yourself, then we're just seeing things completely different. We're looking at things from a totally different angle. And once you do that, you just see things differently. And by seeing things differently, you really encourage yourself to discover new solutions, new ways through the problems you're dealing with, because what you're doing with the diet is you're basically just expecting that magically you're going to be able to fix it. Magically, this time's different. All the things that sabotaged me before, knocked me off, that no longer those going to affect me. Now I'm just going to do great. And it's weird. It's a very weird place to live in. And it's very discouraging. So great job, Claudia. That's wonderful of realizing the patterns. That's what you want to do. Because that leads you to new territory. And leading to new territory usually leads you to the core problems. The core problem is certainly not that you don't know what to eat. That's not the core problem. We can always learn more about nutrition and health and all that. But I've never met a person yet who didn't know, that whole natural foods and fresh fruits and vegetables and, healthy food versus unhealthy food is the better way to eat. Everyone knows that. The question is, can you get yourself to eat that way consistently? And that's where most people fall apart because they have no strategy for how to influence their behavior or their thinking. So good job. Yeah, but Pen, I do always love your live. Haven't been getting notifications somehow. Yeah, that's weird. So make sure you follow me because you never know. It helps. Yeah, we need notifications. You know what I mean? Like again, we take it off our cognitive plate. If you're on there and I'm on here, it lets you know. You pop on here, and I never know how it might help you. You've definitely helped me. I quote you to other people. That's awesome, Gustav. I appreciate you saying that. And I speak that way very intentionally. Again, I am a hypnotist. So as I've said before, I'm not just here saying words just willy-nilly. There's a lot of strategy behind what I'm doing. I'll tell you a funny story with that actually is that I don't know if you've heard me mention this before, but recently I've cloned myself and I'm using an AI service that's literally cloned me. And again, this isn't necessarily an easy thing to do because you need to have a lot of content. Well, guess what? I got a lot of content, literally over 10 million words so far. And I still have a lot more stuff I'm putting in there, but 10 million words is put into this. And what part of this service does is it evaluates and describes your speaking style. And that description alone is 8,000 words. And that was really cool to read because it was very satisfying because it was basically describing a lot of the hypnotic techniques that I'm using constantly. So again, listening to these podcasts is not just listening to information or words. I'm absolutely using hypnotic techniques to help install that information on a deeper level. And part of that is by using specific phrases, concepts, metaphors, ideas. That's part of it. There's a lot more too. But that's awesome, Gustav. So I appreciate you spreading the word and kind of helping people. I'm happy to hear that because again, that's why I do this for free every day. Is I'm really, again, it's a mission for me to help as many people as possible with their goal weight. this AI thing's going to help me do that dramatically. And so this will become a fundamental part of my programs. And I've literally been testing it out for a week, and it's been really, really good. And it's just the beginning. So anyways, that's just a little aside. But Jen says, I know we're not supposed to rely solely on the scale for measures of success, but I'm down almost 20 pounds since starting your program around 12 weeks ago. Hey-o. All right. Well, that's true. But hey, listen, okay. I'm first going to screenshot that. Great job, Jen. That's so awesome, right? 20 pounds is nice. Now listen, yes, I'm not focusing exclusively on the scale, right? Why? Because we over focus on the scale with weight loss and as dieters. So I'm absolutely trying to rebalance it out a little bit. That being said, let it be known that when you get scale victories, celebrate them. Like celebrate them again. And you're fine, Jen, because you're a much more balanced person now. All right. But absolutely, listen, a core point of this is to reduce our weight. Now, why out of 20 pounds down? Oh, it's 20 pounds down. I look better. Okay, that's fine. Go deeper than that, right? So Jen can look at it. I know she's transformed in a lot of ways. She thinks different. She acts different. She eats different. She lives different. I know all the things that happen. So pay attention to those too. But celebrate the scale victories. They're big deals, and it's a big part of what we're doing. A lot of what I'm sharing with you is reframing. I'm reframing things to get you scale victories. I want you to get more things as well. But the primary thing I'm looking to get my clients is scale victories. I say that to you all the time, that even if I'm not talking about the scale specifically, everything in my mind, when I'm thinking about my clients, every single thing I'm doing is built to get them scale victories. So even though I'm talking over here and it feels like it's 100 miles away from anything to do with food, weight, scales, everything I'm talking about comes back to the scale. So you celebrate those victories because they're fun. And when I was losing weight, again, I trained myself to focus on a lot of the other things, okay, because I knew that was going to support me getting the scale victories I wanted. But the scale victory was front and center. That was a core thing I wanted to get. Now, it wasn't just to look better. It was because I believed that was going to help me live longer, be happier, be a better, more productive version of myself, have more energy, more emotionally grounded. So there's lots of other benefits around it. But getting that scale victory was the bullseye of what I was aiming to achieve. So I just want to make that clear, because again, a lot of times I'm absolutely minimizing kind of how important the scale is, but that's only to create some balance. Everything I'm doing to help people is to get that scale down. So great job, Jen. I'm super proud of you, and I want you to really celebrate it, because that's what we're here for. Again, we're looking to do it in a unique way, in a different way. So I'm framing things different, but at the end of the day, in the long term, again, in the short term, again, this scale, really, we got to minimize it because the weight's unpredictable and inconsistent in the short term. But in the long term, that scale better go down. That's what I'm promising, certainly all my clients. And again, for you on the podcast land, that's what I want for you as well. Okay. But again, the clients have actually committed to things. Listen, you're not just committing to feeling better and thinking better and living healthier. Those things are all important to get the scale down. That's what I want for you more than anything. And that's what I focus on and really am committed to. So great job, Jen. That's awesome. I know it must feel good. I know it feels good. So that's so great. Yeah, super. Mr. Penn says your advice has always worked great for me. So good to be back. Yeah, nice to have you here. Rebecca says, I've been working on your recommendations, helped a bunch to remove temptation from my home. Oh, yeah, of course, right? Again, your environment is such a huge impact on your behavior and ultimately your weight. Most of what triggers us to do what we do is subconscious environmental cues that we're not even aware of. And one of the biggest of those is the foods that you habitually see in your house, followed by the foods that you have in your house. So again, ideally, you don't even have the tempting, unhealthy things in your house. But if you do, get them out of line of sight. Put those things in the vegetable drawer. Put those things in the back of the pantry cabinet or something, So yeah, changing your environment, though, is probably one of the most powerful things you can do to change your behavior. So yeah, not even surprised. Great job, Rebecca. That usually does help. Laura says, I've done keto for over a decade, 5'8", 112 pounds, steady weight and clothing size, easy. So yeah, so again, I'm glad you said that, Laura. And, there's always outliers, folks. You know what I mean? Like, again, I have no doubt about that. It's estimated that 95% of people that lose weight on a diet put it back on, And so here we have Laura, who's done this for a decade, lost the weight and kept it off. Easy. Okay. So they're part of the 1% or the 5%. Again, I'm not, that's what I want for everyone, by the way. I wish keto was 100% success. I wish every day was 100% success. I'm not trying to convince you to do program yourself thin. I offer program yourself thin as a solution to the diets that don't work for 95% of the people. So, if Laura gets on here and she just, whatever, keto just really resonated with her and she thrived on it, great. Okay. I'm not saying don't try keto, by the way. Listen, as a hypnotist and as someone that has worked with Program Yourself Thin with thousands of people, um, I've come to the realization that I'm not the first stop on the weight loss train. People don't start their weight loss journey with me. They finish it with me. Meaning, I work with people that have tried keto, tried Weight Watchers, tried intermittent fasting, tried keto again 20 more times, tried Weight Watchers 30 more times. So again, go try keto first. It's faster weight loss. If that works for you, cool. I'm happy for you. Again, I wish you nothing but the best. However, I bet you already tried keto, folks. Have you tried keto? So if you've tried keto multiple times and it hasn't worked for you, what are you going to do now? Try it again? So again, for Laura, great job, but she's an outlier, literally, technically an outlier. And so don't know, how valuable that is, in the sense that, listen, what I'm telling you is you've never tried keto before, go try it. I think you do better. Even if you're like, I don't know, I'm between keto and program yourself thin. Keto and program yourself thin. I'm not sure which one to do. I would say to you, have you ever tried keto before? No. Go try keto. Go try keto. I'll still be here. If it doesn't work for you, I'll still be here for you. Okay. Go try keto though. So again, it's important to understand that just because someone succeeded on keto, and that's how diets sell themselves, is they put outliers there as the norm. And so every single weight loss ad you've ever seen in your life is the before and after pictures. I mean, shit, I do it too. Everyone does their success stories and puts them out there, of course. But what you have to understand is that those are outliers for most people. And again, maybe you're an outlier too. So that's why I say, go try keto. Maybe it'll work amazing for you. And there you go. Easy peasy, but the vast majority of people that are going to try keto, it's not going to work for you for a lot of the reasons that any diet's not going to work for you. And what that is that there's a bunch of reasons. The big ones are that, again, diets are really subconsciously, you code them as temporary weight loss, something I'm going to do temporarily until I lose the weight. So it's not about living at your goal weight. B, they're overwhelming because you're trying to do everything all at once. You're going to do keto, you're going to jump into keto tomorrow, right? And you're going to be perfectly keto until you lose all the weight. And that's another big problem for people because it's hard to be perfect. So again, we have a Laura here who really took to it like duck to water. Great. That doesn't mean you're going to. And I think, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm trying to say this is going to protect you a lot from the way that the diet industry puts a spell on you. Is they show you people that lost this much weight in this amount of time doing this plan. And then you say, oh, that's what I want. Because I see this all the time in the comments. Someone will be like, oh, I lost 30 pounds, I lost 40 pounds. What'd you do? What'd you do? It's like, you got to cut that shit out. Again, ask them what they did. That's fine. But then don't just think all you need to do is be told what to do. You've known what to do for a long time. The problem isn't knowing what to do. It's can you get yourself to do it? So again, we see Laura, we don't know her situation. We don't know what her genetics are. We don't know what her environment is. We don't know what her upbringing is. We don't know where her lifestyle is now. And it might be completely different than yours. So you can't look, just because someone got great results on that doesn't mean you're going to. And I say that to you, again, not to be negative, but to when and statistically, 95% chance keto is not going to work for you. Weight Watchers is not going to work for you. Intermittent fasting is not going to work for you. All the other diets are not going to work for you. There's a 95% chance of that. So if you start one of these plans and it doesn't work, the reason I'm saying all this to you is the last thing in the world I want you to do is to say, what the fuck is wrong with me? How come Laura's done it for a decade. Laura's 5'8", 112 pounds. It was easy for her. It was so easy. Why is it so hard for me? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. It's just not the plan for you. That's all. Just relax. Let's figure out what works for you. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And I find a lot of people fall into that other way of thinking, and it just keeps grinding you down. You feel like shit. Oh, look at Laura. Oh, it was so easy for her. Oh God, I wish I could be like Laura, and we see this all the time, and I love that she even puts a little easy on the end of it. It was easy for her, those of you that have tried keto, is it easy for you? Was it? Let me know. If you've tried keto before, let me know if it was easy or hard. Which was it? For Laura, it was easy. Okay. But how was it for you? How was starting keto and maintaining keto and sticking with keto? Easy, hard? Which one? You know? And if it was hard, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. All right. It just means that's not the plan for you. I hope you can internalize this because it's really important. Santina says, when will we meet this version of you? Yes, Santina, you're going to meet this version of me this week for sure. I'm going to send this out. There was a little bit of miscommunication. I was meant to send it out to some of my coaching clients that didn't get out. I'm going to get that to you all today, and to everyone in the regular program. You'll get this this week, and yeah, I'm real excited. So you're going to love it. Ken says, does AI Jim say I fucking hate dieters? I will tell you, this was the burning question a lot of people asked me, and I was experimenting with this, is I was talking to the AI and I was like, hey, do you swear? Oh, I'm known to use some off-color language. I'll drop an F-bomb here and there. I'll do it. I say, yeah, but do you actually swear? Oh, you know me, salty like a pirate sometimes. I'll just swear and I said, yeah, but can you say I swear now? Oh, Jim, I'll swear. And I said, say a swear. And it's like, it won't do it. So it was kind of funny. I guess it's good, but it was so funny, that conversation. I should have screenshotted it. It was a funny conversation, but yeah. So apparently it won't swear. So that's a good question. I know that's so funny. That was the burning question in a lot of people's mind. What's up, Spencer? How's it going? Katarina says, how to deal with cravings. How to deal with cravings. I mean, that's a huge question. Okay. Cause there's all kinds of cravings and there's all kinds of sources of those cravings. So I'm not trying to be elusive here. I'm trying to reframe you to, again, dieters always think there's kind of like one simple answer to every problem. Usually it's willpower based or some weird, trick or tactic. But really I like to think in a more comprehensive, holistic way. And so some of the biggest things that have helped me deal with cravings, well, shit. I mean, it's kind of the weight mastery pyramid: mindset, lifestyle, eating. And so that's a huge, vague ass, meaningless answer for me to say the way you deal with cravings is, improve your mindset, your lifestyle, and your eating. But it's also true. All those things contribute to your cravings. So I would say on a physical level, your lifestyle is one of the biggest factors in your cravings, followed by your eating. So if we're just talking on a physical level, we're talking lifestyle and eating. And lifestyle specifically, in the program, we talk about 8 specific habits in order of importance: sleeping, hydration, relaxation, breathing, nourishment, movement, meditation, gratitude. So out of those, sleeping, hydration, relaxation, and nourishment are huge triggers or huge factors in your cravings, right? You don't sleep well, you're going to crave more unhealthy foods tomorrow. You're mildly dehydrated, you're going to crave more unhealthy foods and you're going to be hungry a lot more. You're stressed out and freaking out, you're going to be craving a lot of unhealthy foods more. You're not nourished, right? You're not putting the right nourishment in your body, your cravings are going to be a lot higher, right? So those are 4. The other ones matter too, by the way, but those are the 4 big ones with cravings directly related to them. The next thing is the eating. So again, what are you eating? If you're eating a high sugar, high salt, highly processed diet, you're going to have a lot of unhealthy cravings. So again, in my mind, there's not like a one thing to deal with cravings. There's not I'll give you one hypnosis session to eliminate cravings, because there's a lot of things that go into the cravings you have. And so I know dieters don't like to hear that, but in the real world that I live in, I think it's a much more holistic approach, to really manage your cravings. And I think that, I know it's probably an unsatisfying answer, but again, I can't sit here and bullshit and just pin it down to one thing. I'd be lying to you. And so I do think that it's a more comprehensive thing. Don says, Lord Gibbs, why would you be listening to this then? Good point. Claudia says, I've downloaded an app that reminds me to drink water. I can't drink as much as I want to. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, Claudia, I have said this before. I've never heard me say this, but my water drinking habit, the hardest habit for me to install, and continues to be. It's definitely something I have to kind of keep the biggest eye on, pretty much. That and gratitude, I'm working on developing that one better too. But the water one I consistently do every day, but it's definitely one I got to kind of keep an eye on. It hasn't installed as deeply as a lot of the other ones. So no big deal, Claudia. But again, the key thing is that you're still working at it. Listen, this is how it goes, right? We'll just stick with habits, for example. The 8 habits I talked about was in the program. We talk about installing those into your life. Well, you're going to find 8 habits. Some of them are going to be real easy to do. Some of them are going to be okay to do. And some are going to be real hard to do. And that's just the way it goes, right? Everything's statistical. And so the easy ones, awesome. Cool. We get those in there. Good. The medium ones we put some effort into. And then the hard ones, we have to take a step back and say, is this really worth it to me? That's what I did with the water, because the water has been, again, that's the hardest one. It's just taken a long time. I mean, it's there now and it runs mostly on autopilot, but I still have to kind of keep an eye on it and pay attention to it. Do I wish it was easier? Yeah, of course. But who gives a shit? What am I going to do? It's not. And so what do I do now? Well, I keep working on it. So the fact that you got an app to meet that habit, where it's at, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Don't get caught in the idea of like, well, I wish it was easier. It should be easier. What's going on with me? What's wrong with me? How come it's not easier? Just some things are easier and some things are harder. Who gives a shit? But you're meeting it right where it's at, and you're coming to it with a great solution. I think that's a very strategic solution. That's how I did it. I tracked water very, very specifically for a while. I made it a focus of mine. And I really I focused on my water thing to the point that I could get into extremely granular detail about how I drink the right amount of water every day. Like when I drink it, where I leave the bottle, when I fill it up, how I drink it. I mean, it would make your eyes glaze over. But again, I spent a lot of time really stalking that habit, installing it and working on it. So don't feel like there's anything wrong with you because you have to do that. It's just always that way. Some habits are easy, some habits are harder, but if it's worth it, you just stick with it, and it will become easier over time too. It certainly did for me. Yeah. So Miss Independent, yeah, you tried keto. It was hard. Yeah, Katie says, I know AI Jim better curse. I know. I am literally I'm gonna ask that. I know it's not gonna let me, because I've went through a lot of the settings, and I mean, listen, it's 10 million words of mine. I mean, probably 500,000 are probably swears, because a lot of it's the podcast, but it just won't do it. And even when I ask it to, but I will ask him that. That would be so funny. I don't even know if it would be funny though. Maybe, because what if it sweared in the wrong way or something? I don't know. It could potentially say something really offensive, I suppose. So maybe it's best. let's keep some guardrails on this shit, right? Where we know it a little bit better. Miss Independent, I don't believe in editing. Your advice worked for me and still does for the last 3 years. Thank you. I don't believe in dieting. Yeah. I don't believe in dieting. Your advice worked for me and still does for the last 3 years. Yeah, you're welcome. Again, I don't believe in dieting either. For me, it didn't work and wouldn't work. I know why. And it doesn't work for the vast majority of people. We live in a country where 72% of the population is overweight or obese. So clearly dieting is not working. Right? I mean, I know dieting works when you're doing it to help you lose weight. I'm talking about long-term. Dieting 100% officially does not work to help people long-term lose weight very effectively. Are there some people it helps? Well, obviously. There's always some people. But the vast estimated 95 to the lowest thing I've seen is 85% fail long-term to lose weight on diet. So I don't know how much more evidence you would need. That statistic, in addition to your experience and all the people I don't know how much more evidence you need or proof you would need that dieting doesn't work. Again, as a dieter, you're not thinking clearly. You're literally in a trance, which always makes me laugh. I always laugh when dieters ask me, oh, you think I could be hypnotized? I mean, if you're a dieter, you're fucking hypnotized right now. Why do you keep dieting? It's not a logical thing. It's something you do because you're in a trance. It makes no logical sense to keep doing something that doesn't work. Right? But you keep doing it because you're a logical person. So am I. We're all illogical. Should I avoid carbs? Well, I mean, should you avoid carbs, right? Again, I know what you mean, but I want to be specific with it. Should you avoid carbs? I mean, vegetables are carbs. Should you avoid those? I mean, and again, I say that snarkily, but I shouldn't, because let's be honest, there's a lot of people that really question whether they should eat fruits and vegetables. So this whole keto thing, I think, is a whole bunch of bullshit personally. I think it's a goofy meat industry backed concept of how to lose weight that I think is a bunch of bullshit for a million reasons. But should I avoid carbs? But I think what you really mean is, should I avoid refined carbs? And avoid's a funny word. I mean, I think you should moderate them. You should limit them. Do I think you should completely avoid carbs? I don't think you should. First of all, I think we've been eating carbs for a long time as human beings, and we do real well on them. Do I think you should stop eating refined carbs like flour? I think you should limit it. I do think it's kind of addictive. It kind of triggers overeating. There's issues associated with it when you do it all the time, for sure. So if you mean refined carbs, I absolutely think you should actively limit them. Avoid them, never eat them again. Nope. I don't think you should do that because I don't think you're going to be able to do it. So, no. Would you lose more weight that way? I mean, maybe for the first week or 2 or month that you did it, but then you'll quit. So how much weight are you going to lose then? So yeah, I don't think that, I don't know. When I hear questions like that too, like, should I avoid carbs? It bums me out so hard because the whole diet industry has just become, it's a combination of it being like so simplistic on one hand. And then on the other hand, it's all about making money with dumb shit, and so they've got people so confused. And, I think once you understand food in a more genuine way, you're just set up for so much more success, which brings me back to the point that I don't care what your weight is. If you put my brain in your body, we'd start losing weight immediately. My weight loss was not controlled by my body. I'm like, oh, Jim, you're thin. You could eat whatever you want. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I was 50 pounds heavier 30 years ago. I was 25 pounds heavier 12 years ago. So I eat more calories. I gain more weight. So I don't have some magic body where I could eat whatever and just lose weight. What I've done is I've changed my mind. I'm an absolute master. Like literally, I might be like the number one weight master on the world in the world because I have a unique focus on this. And I'm so focused on how do you live at your goal weight that I think my focus on it seems to be unique because everyone's talking about how to lose weight and then wondering why people can't stay at a lower weight. But no one really focuses on how do you live at your goal weight. I've been obsessed with that question for 30 years. And that's led me to have a completely different brain that thinks about food differently, my mindset differently, my lifestyle differently, my weight differently. And in such a complete and total way that, again, if you put my brain in an overweight person's body, an obese person's body, would there be different cravings and hunger levels and hunger signal and all the rest of it? Yeah, of course. But I would instantly start systematically working on reducing my weight. And it wouldn't just be food-based decisions I made. I would change the way I thought about myself. I would change the way that I was living systematically so it supported my healthier eating. I would systematically start changing my eating so that it comfortably started moving me to eat healthier so I could weigh what I wanted to weigh. So again, you dieters, you think about everything at such a superficial level where really you think I just need the plan and I'll bring the willpower. And it's like, again, I don't knock you for thinking that the first couple times. I get it. But how the fuck, how are you 10, 20, 30, 40 years into this now and you still think all you need is the plan and you'll bring the willpower? Yeah. Brenda says, do you think timing your meals can prevent overeating? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a core part of programming yourself thin is structuring your eating. I always say that the golden rule is that there's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. My one exception to that is I believe you got to structure your eating. And I think this for a lot of reasons. I think intuitive eating is a bunch of bullshit, and especially in this environment. Now, listen, if I dropped you off in the woods, intuitive eat yourself, knock yourself out. You'll do great. But in this world where we're constantly surrounded by hyper addictive, easy to grab foods, let me know how your intuitive eating goes, And so intuitive eating comes in all shapes and sizes. Most people are intuitive eaters. By the way, it's not just the people that think they're intuitive eating and that follow that philosophy, which for most people is a bunch of bullshit, but you're all intuitive eaters. If you don't have a structured eating plan for how you eat typically, and again, I'm not talking about a meal plan that's really strict and you hate. I'm talking about figuring out how you typically eat in a way that allows you to live at your goal weight. But if you don't have any structure to that, then you are an intuitive eater, right? How would you describe it? So I think that the secret to dealing with your eating to weigh what you want is structuring your eating in a way, timing your meals. That's me. I've got so let me take you into what it looks like ultimately. For me, I got my breakfast and I know if I eat this breakfast, I know I'm good until lunchtime. And then with the lunch I eat, I know if I eat this lunch, I know I'm good until dinner time. And then I know if I eat this dinner, I'm good until tomorrow morning at breakfast. And then you get me on my pleasure days. I know if I eat this breakfast here, I'm good until dinner. I eat this dinner, I'm good until tomorrow morning at breakfast. So I definitely think timing your meals absolutely is essential to prevent overeating for a lot of reasons too. By the way, I'm not going to go into them all now, but there's a lot of reasons: psychological reasons, biochemical reasons, neurotransmitter reasons, dopamine reasons. Are factored in. There are just so many reasons why timing your meals, structuring your meals, knowing when you're going to have your next meal, what you're going to have ahead of time, I think is absolutely essential. And I think without that, your chances of success are almost nil. Again, there's always outliers, but I think most people will not succeed if they don't structure their meals. Yeah, Hart says it's so true. So many people are confused. Me too. I get it. And the confusion's intentional, folks. The confusion is absolutely intentional because these big food companies know that a confused mind is a stuck mind. When you're confused, they call it a paralysis by analysis, right? So you're like, I don't know if I should eat carbs. Should I not eat fruit? Should I just eat cabbages? Should I not eat for 12 hours? I don't know what to do. And then you just keep doing what you always do. And that's the point, because all the diets you know about are owned by big food companies. So these food companies have been pumping bullshit into your brains, my brain too, for our whole lives through they're sheep. The diets are sheep's and wolves the diets are wolves in sheep's clothing. And technically the diets are literally the food companies. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products is owned by the same companies as Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. Slim Fast is owned by the same company as Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So all of the people that you've been kind of listening to about how to lose weight, it's all the food companies. They don't want you to lose weight. They definitely don't want you to eat less of their bullshit food. So, you have to understand your head's been filled with rocks for your whole life about how to lose weight. And that's why you're struggling. It's not because you don't have willpower. It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you have no control. It's not because you're a food addict. It's because you've never learned a realistic system of how to master your weight, how to live at your goal weight. Not even one time, not even close. That's why you're struggling. And so anyways, but if you're looking for how to do it, please click the link in my bio. Go to my bio, click the link, get the free hypnosis session I give you, watch the free video I made for you, read the free emails I send you, because I'll help you out, because again, you want to be less confused, and I will lay out a plan that will help you be a lot less confused. All right. Because the good news is it's not like that complicated or hard. It's just that you're never exposed to the real information. You're exposed to the bullshit, constantly, and it's got you all confused. Anna says, why can't I stop eating? It's like I'm not hungry at all, but I just cannot stop snacking. I do this at work too, just eating because it's there. Again, Anna, there's a number of reasons why this is. But the big one I will tell you is that, you're probably using the food for emotional reasons. Maybe you're stressed out. Maybe you're bored at work. You're feeling some emotions, and the food is a break from that. So you have to understand, in this culture, we've been conditioned to use food as our main emotional management strategy. And so when you're eating a lot of times when you're not even hungry, it's technically emotional eating. To make a real clear distinction, emotional eating is when you're not eating for nourishment. If you didn't ever emotionally eat, then you would only eat to nourish your body. And when you nourished it enough, you'd stop eating. That'd be it. It would feel very much like when you fill up your car with gas. You've never been tempted to keep filling it up when it's full, right? You just fill it up enough, we're gone. But food, right, it's all built around emotions. It's been conditioned that way. It's entertainment. It's a way to feel better. It's a way to not feel so depressed. It's a way to entertain ourselves, distract ourselves, whatever. And so, Anna, it definitely sounds like you're really wrapped up in the emotional eating piece of it, and that's why you're snacking when you're not even hungry. And so it's not a question about stopping yourself from emotional eating. It's about coming up with better strategies to meet your emotions that don't include food. And you don't have any of those right now. I can almost guarantee it. So, hope that makes sense. Brenda says, thank you. I do my morning workout, fasted, skip breakfast, and then binge at lunch most times. Okay, Brenda. Yeah. So that's a perfect example. That's a perfect dieter thing to do right there. Okay. Right in a nutshell. That's the number one pattern I see dieters doing over my 20 years of doing this, is that I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had that start like this. Jim, I don't know what's going on in the afternoon, right? Breakfast and lunch are great. And then afternoon and nighttime, I don't know what happens. I just keep eating everything. I'm so good in the morning and in the lunch, and then everything falls apart. I don't know what to do. And I say, well, what are you eating for breakfast and lunch? Nothing. I said, well, what do you want to eat for in the afternoon and night? Nothing. Well, you got to eat something, right? And so dieters do this all the time because they're always trying to restrict calories. And so you over restrict, get yourself starving, and then you binge. Then the next day comes, you try and restrict calories because now it's easier because now you binged all afternoon and night. And so now you're kind of full. You're not hungry the next morning. And now it's I'm not going to eat so I can cut calories down, fasted workout. All right. And then you keep, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to eat. Now your hunger is through the roof and now you can't control your eating. And it's like, it's so obvious when you take a step back. You can't just look. I always like to say this, like where the problem shows up is not where the problem was created. So for example, I know for a fact, Brenda, you're like, everything's going great. It's just goddamn lunch. I keep binging at lunch. If I could just get my binging at lunch down, everything would be perfect, but that's not accurate because the lunch isn't the problem. And that's what you think the problem is. You think if I just had more willpower at lunch, I'd be great. Everything would be great. But the lunch isn't the problem. The problem is you're not eating anything at breakfast and you're getting so hungry that when lunch comes around, you can't control your eating. And that's going to continue. And so I would say a much more strategic thing would be to say, how do I prevent getting so hungry at lunch? How can I set myself up for better success at lunch? And what that could be is nourishing yourself at breakfast. Because for most people, it's easy to skip breakfast. It's the easiest meal of the day to skip because your willpower is at its highest, your hunger is usually at its lowest. And what we want to do is we want to use that high willpower and that low hunger to nourish the shit out of ourselves first meal of the day. And then see how the day goes. Brenda says, I don't really like breakfast foods. Is a Fairlife protein shake okay for breakfast? No, I would not recommend that. Now, would it be better than what you're doing? Yeah, probably calorie wise for a little bit. If you start having a protein shake, you know what I mean? You'll feel more satisfied. Probably, maybe not. I don't really like breakfast foods. That's probably good because most breakfast foods are bullshit. But what I would be looking for and what I always recommend, and again, you've got to figure this out because I don't know what you like to eat. That's why, again, diets are bullshit because I'm going to tell you what to eat. I don't know you. That idea that someone's going to tell you how to eat is so crazy. If I sit here, I'm going to tell you what movies to watch or what music to listen to, or what clothes to wear. You're like, what, Jim? Who the fuck? You don't know me. I'm going to listen to you, but you're going to let me tell you what foods to eat. That's weird. So you got to take a little bit of time to say, what do I like to eat? What would I like to eat? It doesn't have to be breakfast foods. Certainly like typical American breakfast foods. None of those are good. But we start getting to, I'll give you an example. I have Ezekiel bread, right? So it's bread, but it's not made from flour. It's sprouted grain, right? So it takes longer to absorb. It's more filling. It satisfies you longer. And it works well for me. And I eat that with natural peanut butter. I have an apple with peanut butter. That's my breakfast. But that breakfast, because there's a lot of fiber in it, there's a lot of nourishment, nutrients in it. It allows me to get to 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I eat at 7:30, 8 in the morning typically, and I'm good until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, comfortably good, because that really satisfies me. Now, it's not just breakfast. Again, you have to understand there's an accumulated effect. So if you start consuming more fiber in the form of fruits, vegetables, greens, beans, what's going to happen is, over a week, over 2 weeks, over 3 weeks, your sense of satisfaction is going to increase. Because right now, all of you are really fiber deficient. I can almost guarantee it. If you eat a typical American diet, you're not getting enough fiber, which is one of the core reasons you're always hungry. So anyways, breakfast, what I would want to do is I'd want to make it more natural. How quickly you do it. Shit, just an apple, a banana in the morning might drastically change how you move into lunch. So it doesn't have to be something even that dramatic, but I would absolutely experiment with some fruit, some vegetable, yogurt, oatmeal, Ezekiel bread, some whole foods, whole natural foods that you at least don't hate. You know what I mean? So you kind of mildly do it. And I would experiment with it, because what if you found, here's what I'm saying. What if you found a relatively low calorie breakfast that you enjoyed enough, it was easy to make, and you started eating that when you got back. And now when lunchtime came around, your hunger was, half of what it was, or even 30% less. Let's just say 30% less even, right? Because you nourished yourself at breakfast and now lunch comes and you're 30% less hungry. Now your ability to manage that lunch is way improved, And so, yeah, you say, well, yeah, but I have calories at breakfast time. Yeah, but I bet your lunchtime binging, say breakfast is 300-400 calories, but your binging and lunch might be extra 700-800 calories. You know what I mean? So again, we have to start thinking mathematically about this. And I think this is the smarter approach to it. Instead of thinking everything comes down to more willpower, because what are we doing? Otherwise, I'm going to go into lunch absolutely starving. I'm still going to make great food choices. I can't do that. I just told you, I think I'm like the number one weight master and especially like weight mastery coach, like not only have it's not just, oh, look what I did with my weight. I wouldn't be that impressed by that. It's what I've been able to tell lots of people do over the last 20 years. So it's not just me. I've been able to impart this to other people and watch them succeed too. So there's not a lot of us. Now, as much as I know about this, if I all of a sudden don't eat breakfast, well, we'll see. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden kind of falls apart because now I'm on my foundation. So, if I get really hungry, if I get like, if I don't know, some random shit happens and all of a sudden I skipped a meal, now I'm starving. When I'm starving, I don't make good food choices still. I got a couple strategies I can rely on, but when I randomly, like rarely, like it happens because I'm very clear about structuring my eating. But if all of a sudden I get starving and I'm starving, I don't give a shit. Every cell, think about when you're starving, by the way, just put this in perspective because you dieters are fucking goofy with this, is that when you start getting really hungry, it's like every cell of your being is screaming out for nutrition and food. It's very much, I say this before, and I wish you would all do this because this is such a profound exercise to do. But it's like, what like you believe you have so much control over your eating, and it's a fantasy. And the closest thing I can think to it is if you ever go and hold your breath, right? Go and see like how long you can hold your breath for. You should do this today because I think it's very enlightening. And what you'll do is you'll be like, okay, in the first like 5-10 seconds of holding your breath, you are absolutely irrationally confident. It's weird. It is. I've done this every time, and it's like, oh, I'm like, I might go 5-10 minutes here. Holy shit, I feel great. I'm gonna be able to hold my breath a long time. And what happens is the longer you do it, the faster that confidence disappears, and it's replaced by anxiety. And that's exactly what it feels like to me with the trying not to eat all day. It's like, yeah, fuck breakfast, fuck it. Oh, lunch, fuck lunch. I'm not even that hungry. I'll get through that, no problem. And then you get to after 2:00, and I was like, I need something to eat or I'm gonna die. It's very much like holding your breath, and you get to that freak out point. And as soon as you get that freak out point, if I get to the freak out point, I eat everything because not only like now it's like, when I'm freaking out, I'm starving. It's like, I'll eat a lot of food, but it's like some flip switched in me. And it's like, even though I ate a lot of food, I know I'm full. It's like, I'm still hungry. And so that to me is the thing I want to avoid at all costs. I don't want to get myself starving because it starts to like trigger all these alarm bells in me. And it triggers my hunger to be really off the charts for a while. So I'm managing, again, Program Yourself Thin. We're absolutely managing our hunger. We don't want to get starving. We very intensely focus on where our hunger level's at and don't allow ourselves to get starving. So, again, another one. Yeah. Okay. So boiled eggs. Okay. Yeah. I think boiled eggs are great. Be careful. The cholesterol, yolk issue, if you have anything to go with that, but yeah, boiled eggs, I think is perfect. And I would absolutely, though, again, I would absolutely focus on adding a fruit. That's the easiest way to start getting some more fiber in you. Fiber is the most satiating thing, more satiating than protein. You think protein because the meat industry has conditioned you to think protein out the wazoo, but you have to understand it's a big old corporation behind it, a big old conglomeration of corporations. Yes, protein is satiating. I'm not disputing that, but fiber is way more satiating. And it's going to satisfy you on a level you can't believe. Literally, fiber is like nature's Ozempic. It really is. Ozempic is just GLP-1 hormone that your gut produces naturally when you eat a whole food diet. So again, if you want to experiment with that, you oughta, and it'll help with your hunger. So, said, what would you do in a situation where you are binging? What would I do if I was in a situation like all of a sudden I'm starving and I'm binging and I'm eating a lot of shit and I realize I'm in that. So the first step to deal with that is you need to have awareness. Okay. I have that awareness. So I'm very aware, even while I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm there. Okay. So what would I do while I'm binging? Not a whole lot. What I'm doing while I'm binging or making unhealthy food choices, I'm paying attention to how I'm doing it. What am I focusing on? What am I saying to myself? How do I feel? How hungry am I? Those are the big things I'm focusing on. Now, more often than not, really, the way you deal with binging is after you're done. Because when you're in that binge mode, it's very difficult to just stop it. You're kind of a runaway train. So to some degree, it's kind of a lost cause. I know that may sound negative, but what I look to do is I'm much more a believer in the preventative approach. Right? We have a saying in Program Yourself Thin, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of willpower. So instead of focusing on how do I stop a binge once it's started, I'm way more interested in focusing on how to prevent a binge from ever starting. And the best time to do that is after you binge. So after you take your last bite of the binge, ask yourself the question, 6 seconds before I took my first bite of the binge, How hungry was I? What emotional state was I in? And is this a habitual routine I have? Those are the three things I want to focus on. There's other things, but these are the big three. And then you start to pay attention to it. And what happens when you ask this question and keep doing this is you start to notice patterns. And you probably have a couple different binging patterns. One might be triggered by over restricting and then you get too hungry and then you binge. Another one might be you get depressed and then you go to food. Another might be it's Friday night, it's the end of the week, I'm going to party, I'm going to eat, binge. Okay. So it could be one, it could be all of these things. But the more you start to understand your binge patterns, the more ability you have to strategically prevent them. And I would say that that's a much better strategy than expecting that, you're going to start binging and then just stop it in the middle. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's a very ineffective strategy. It's usually not going to work for most people, Yeah. Hart says, yeah, same. I plan on eating little and I end up eating much. Yeah. Again, that is literally the dieting norm. That's the most normal pattern I've seen dieters over the years. They all share that because you're all thinking just straight calories. You're thinking in the moment and you're thinking, okay, it's lunchtime. I could cut those calories out or, I could eat them and then I won't lose weight. And you're always thinking like right in the moment. You have no ability to see the big picture and how this decision here is going to impact, 3 hours from now. You don't think that way. And what happens is because you're always just in the moment, what you don't realize, you're always repeating the same pattern of over restricting, getting too hungry, then way overeating. And most of you have probably been doing that for decades and not realizing it. Yeah. Being prepared is so important. Yes, absolutely. Obviously, right? Being prepared is super important. It might be one of the most important things in the world. And for a number of reasons too. It's not just because you need to have the things there and prepared. It's psychologically, it's so much more grounding and calm to know what to expect. And you dieters don't, because a lot of time you dieters, again, each day starts as a blank slate and you're basically trying to see how long can I keep from eating? How little can I eat? And what's going on, that's on the upside. That's what you're paying attention to. But on the downside, you are just like gassing up your cravings and your hunger. So it's bad. So yes, being prepared is absolutely crucial. How to get more fiber in my diet? That's a great question. And it's simpler than you would think. You don't have to do it all at once. What's up, Vicky? I see Vicky. Yep, you certainly helped me. Here's to you in the Brick House. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Brick House. Yep. I appreciate all you that donated there. Thank you so much on that. I serve on the board there. It's a local organization that does a lot of good stuff. But anyways, yeah. So how to get more fiber in your diet? Again, it's simple. Just don't overwhelm yourself by going from 0 fiber a day to, 500 grams of fiber a day. I'm just making up numbers, but you get what I mean. So the easiest way to start getting more fiber in your diet is start eating more fruits, more vegetables, more greens, more beans, more whole natural grains. There you go. And do it systematically and comfortably. You don't have to change everything all at once. Start eating an apple a day. 5 days a week. There you go. You got more fiber in your gut, eat a salad when you can, more fiber, and so if you start looking at it that way with that intention and a strategy behind you to make it happen, it's easy. And it's one of the biggest, most important things you can do. I've always said this for me. I did this. I've been a vegetarian for 25 years, but 5 years ago, I started eating salads for lunch. And it was right after I read a book called How Not to Die by Dr. Greger. I'm a huge fan of his. And it really inspired me to have lunches that had way more nutrient density and variety in them. And so that led me to the salads. And so those salads have been the biggest shift. When it comes to my diet, my eating, my weight, those salads I started. Now, again, I went from being a big ass meat eater to being a vegetarian. And I think eating the salads at lunch was even a bigger transformation because that was the first time in my life I felt my hunger I don't say disappeared, but my hunger just went way down because even before the salad, I did have to use a lot of strategies. I'd eat my lunch, which ironically, the lunch before the salads was more calories. Okay. So I would eat that lunch and then I would regularly be hungry in the afternoon and I would go into dinner being very hungry. And so once I started eating the salads, I find now, like I go into dinner 40% less hunger. That's helpful. And again, what it was, the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of eating the salads didn't feel great in my gut. I will let you know. It felt metaphorically a little like someone poured cement in there. I felt like full, like so full and so kind of like whatever, but I got used to it, and I think that was just the fiber building up in my gut. And now I'm used to it, but now it's reduced my appetite tremendously. And again, what I think it's the GLP-1 hormone. I think I'm producing a lot more of it. and I'm just not as hungry anymore. I'm way more satisfied. So again, the number one thing the processed food industry has taken out of our diets is fiber. Fiber doesn't process well. It's the number one thing missing from your diet. I can almost guarantee it. And so the more whole natural foods you eat, the more fruits, vegetables, greens, beans, whole grains you eat, the more fiber you put into your body. And after a couple of weeks, you're going to notice that your hunger is most likely a lot lower, because again, it's not just the fiber and what that does to you, but also when you're eating fruits, vegetables, greens, beans, you're getting a lot more nutrient variety and density into your body. A big part of what's triggering your hunger is the fact that you're not eating enough nutrients and you're not getting enough variety of them. It's that simple. If you're eating a high processed food diet, you're not getting a high degree of nutrient density or variety. And, you intuitively understand how if you're not getting enough calories, your body sends you hunger signals and you feel hungry, right? You get that, but you don't think about that with your nutrients. Your body is in there tracking all the nutrients you're getting, and it's sending you a hunger signal because it thinks you still live in the natural world where eating means you're getting lots of nutrients into your body. It doesn't realize you can eat tons of calories with almost no micronutrients in it. So a big part of your hunger signal, as well as the GLP factor and other gut hormones that they haven't even discovered yet, is the fact that you're most likely, if you follow a standard American diet, you're probably malnourished, literally. You probably are malnourished micronutrient wise. And so your body's in a constant state of hunger because it's trying to trigger you to get more micronutrients into your body. So it's weird that you've never thought that before, isn't it? Yeah, because you're not taught the shit that really matters. You have to understand, we've been raised by corporations and they just fuck us over constantly. And with the weight is the biggest thing. You think about it yourself, right? Think about this. Think about how much of the economy is based around you, all of us, being overweight, unhealthy, and unhappy. Again, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but I mean, something's going on, If you look at the rates of increase of obesity and type 2 diabetes in our country over the last 50 years, it's gobsmacking. And it's hard to imagine that happened without some nefarious, force on the other side generating a lot of that. So take it or leave it. I don't give a shit. I'm at my goal weight. I feel great. So again, it's all for you. KG says, any tips for sleeping well at night, having so much trouble? Yeah, I that's a core thing that I focus on. I literally have a program called Sleep at Will. If you want that, shoot me an email and I'll send you the page where you can get that. Again, it's a relatively inexpensive program. But the biggest thing you can do to sleep better, number one, is learn to relax and quiet your mind down more. That's the big one. You're going to bed tense. That's causing you to not be able to fall asleep. Your mind's spinning, and that's keeping you up as well. So those are the two big ones. And those are all skills. You can learn to relax better, quiet your mind. That helps you sleep. And then there's obviously like sleep hygiene factors as well. Those are the things that most people talk about. But it's having a dark, cool room, comfortable bed, all that shit, quiet, those things as well. But the core thing is being able to relax your body physically, being able to quiet your mind down intentionally. And those are probably the two biggest things that can help you fall asleep. But I will tell you, on a free level, you can go to my YouTube channel. So just search YouTube, Jim Katsoulis, and I have got a ton of hypnosis sessions up there. And they're ones that, some are 4 hours, 8 hours, 1 hour. So listen to those as you're falling asleep. Okay. As well. You can listen to those and those will help you too. All right. Z says, I have a fast metabolism. Any tips for gaining weight? Not really. I mean, it's really not my specialty. So I could certainly I could say things, but I don't really like to talk. I just turn myself yellow. It's so funny. Like when I just, somehow when I touch my screen, I have to touch my screen to scroll through the comments. And lately I just went back to normal, but it's like, sometimes I'll touch my screen and it'll change the whole color and stuff on here. And then I go and try and do it to turn it back and I know it won't work. So it's like, I only can do it when I'm not trying to do it. It's weird. Technology, huh? Katie says, thank you so much. You're awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Kirby's mom says, how can I keep my motivation? I started last Monday and I'm down 8 pounds, but struggling this week. Well, listen, you're really asking me two questions. Okay. Now, A, how can I keep my motivation? A, you never really had real motivation, just to let you know. None of you dieters have real motivation. Just to be honest, you don't even know how to generate motivation. I know this. Okay. That's why in our mindset section of Program Yourself Thin, the very first part is motivation. Motivation is the engine that drives the car. Most of you have shitty motivation because most of you, your main motivation is you want to look better. And I hate to tell you, and I know you'll argue with me and not believe me, that's not enough motivation for most people. Okay. Now, the second piece of your problem is that when I hear you lost 8 pounds in a week, I know you've done something absolutely extreme. And I know that it's so difficult and overwhelming that there's almost no level of motivation that will allow you to continue that crazy shit anyways. And then there's the third piece, which is because you got such dramatic results the first week, now everything's anchored to that 8 pounds. And the first week, when you have a 3-pound weight loss, a 2-pound weight loss, your motivation is going to disappear there too. Because you're like, oh shit, everything's getting slow. And then God forbid the week where you have 0 weight loss or 1 pound. So again, your motivation is not real motivation. Getting fired up for a minute is not real motivation, folks. Real motivation is the motivation you feel to take care of your kids, to, stay with your partner, to go to work, to go to school. That's real motivation, right? And we know it's real motivation when you don't want to do it, right? You got your kids and you're exhausted and they want to eat something. You don't want to do it, but you get up and do it, right? Because you're motivated, because you value it so deeply. I'm a parent. That's my job. That's my responsibility. That motivation's way deeper. And it's the same thing. Oh, I work, right? So I got a job. I need this job. I live in this place. I support these people. It's really important to me. I want to slay here in bed all day, but I'm going to get up because I have to have a job. So your motivation in those situations is way deeper. Okay. Then we look at your motivation to lose weight is like, I got to lose some weight. I got to do this. It's just not the same level. And until you get it deeper, I don't know how you're ever going to do that. And then on top of it, again, you're most likely choosing extreme things. Let me know, Kirby's mom, what have you done to lose 8 pounds in a week? I'm going to guess extreme, 1 meal a day, water fasting, maybe even something extreme. 8 pounds in a week's a lot. So I'm curious to know what you did, but because I've had people get on here, and again, maybe you haven't too. So again, let me know. But I've had people get on here and say like, I lost 8 pounds last week. I've been water fasting. How do I keep it up though? I'm starting to get wobbly. Yeah, no shit. Because you got to eat. You can't water fast forever. So that's not a motivation question. I mean, shit, you could be as motivated as anything in the world. And in that situation, you could have all the motivation on the planet. If your strategy is to not eat anything, it ain't going to last. I mean, you can't. I'm so motivated, I was going to die. That's not going to work. So again, I would love to know what you did to lose 8 pounds in a week. All right, there's Kathy. I'll screenshot that because it's true. And she says it. Kathy says, join PYT primarily for better sleep and mindset. Second weekend, game changer. No, because with Program Yourself Thin, there's so many things going on. Again, I'm a big believer in really kind of packing a lot of benefits into a small package. And one of those small packages that I deliver is the 5-minute hypnosis sessions, just that alone. But if you practice, if you listen to a 5-minute session every day, and each one's different, so they're not boring and the same thing, but every day for 5 minutes, you take 5 minutes and kind of relax your body, connect to your breath, turn your attention inwards, become more aware of what's going on inside here, quiet your mind. After 2 weeks, you're profoundly more better at it. Way better at it, and there's so many benefits to it. So that's awesome, Kathy. Great job. And great job doing the work though. Again, I put it there, but not everyone does it. So great job. And I'm super happy to hear that it's helped you with the sleep, because again, by improving your sleep, you're almost guaranteed to improve your eating. Not always, but even if it doesn't improve your eating automatically, it sets you up at a much better place to actually deal with your eating. So that's great job, Kathy. I'm proud of you for doing the work. That's awesome. So, all right, I'm going to close it up now. I got to get out of here. Thanks so much, everyone. This is awesome as usual. Glad to hear a lot of your success stories. I always love hearing those. Jen, great job. 20 pounds. So awesome. Okay. And I know you've done it in a way that's set up for long-term success. So I'm super proud of you. And obviously I always love hearing my clients just killing it. That nothing makes me happier than that. I love hearing my podcast people kill it too. Okay. But I know that there are people in the program, you know what I mean? Like you've got this holistic system, and every time you get a win, I know you buy into it more and more and more. And so that really excites me, because I know you're on the path of weight mastery, and that just nothing makes me happier. So again, thank you everyone for this. And so if you're not in my world though, please click the link in my bio, wherever you might be watching this, or go to Program Yourself Thin, get the free hypnosis session I give you. It's free. It's a good session. It's a kickstart session called The New Thin Me. And you can get that in a couple minutes, and completely free. And then there's a video I made for you. You should watch that. And then I send you emails every day. They'll help you out. So again, no one gives you more free stuff than me. And go check that stuff out. because it's all going to help you out. It'll pull you out of the wilderness of dieting and get you into a real plan that works. And then this is a podcast. So if you like this material, you can listen to us in podcast form. It's called Program Yourself Thin is the name of the podcast on all the podcast platforms. And it is ready to go for you there. And then if you get on the lives, I do this live every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern on all the different, I'm simultaneously live streaming to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, I think that's all of them. And so whatever one is your preference, go check it out and follow me there too, right? Because if you follow me, you never know, you'll get notified. You'll see my new videos, new things I post. And again, all designed to help you out. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much. Have a super